the prophet Jeremiah, Luke the Evangelist, and the Apostle Paul all look today into the future. What do they see? The fulfillment of God's promise. For Jeremiah, it's about raising a just shoot for David. For Luke and Paul, it's the coming of our Lord Jesus with all his holy ones. But each of them was looking into that future from different times and situations. Jeremiah lived in the worst period of the history of Israel, from about 647 to around 585 BCE. The last kings of Israel were not the examples of righteousness and justice, and the kingdom of Judah was not safe. The Babylonian invasion was looming on the horizon. Jerusalem was neither secure nor called the Lord our justice. Instead, it was the city of brutality, bursting with violence. How about St. Luke? The majority of scholars date the Gospel of Luke to 70 or 80 CE. However, there is a group of scholars who think that the Gospel was written much earlier, between 57 and 59. During those years, Paul was in prison in Caesarea, as we hear in Acts. And Luke seemed to spend that time with him. The years ahead were not the best for the followers of Christ. There was massive persecution on the horizon, during which thousands of Christians became food for wild animals, and others lighted the streets of Rome by being burned alive. Finally, the letter to the Thessalonians is considered as the earliest writing in the New Testament, written around 50 CE. And the community was among the first churches established by Paul in Europe. Because of strong opposition, Paul had to leave them in distant Corinth. The apostle worried whether the young community would remain faithful to the gospel of Christ in the face of persecution. Unable to come himself, he sent Timothy to get some news, then sent the letter. The coming of the Son of Man has always been the hope and the object of prayer of Christians. During the Eucharist, we proclaim the mystery of our faith. Christ has died. Christ is risen. Christ will come again. But how do we conduct ourselves while waiting for the fulfillment of God's promise? We lift our souls to God, because he shows sinners the way and teaches the humble his way. We conduct ourselves to please God, avoiding drunkenness and the anxieties of daily life. Thus, we can be prepared for the day of the Lord. Before the birth of Christ, the winter of sin covered the whole world. The shepherds were keeping watch over their flocks at night, and Magi from the east were searching the dark sky for the star of the king. Then a shoot from the stump of Jesse, the father of David, came up bearing the fruit of salvation for the entire world. So shall it be with the coming of the Son of Man, preceded by a cosmic upheaval, like God before whom goes a powerful wind, an earthquake, and a fire. The Son of Man comes to establish his everlasting kingdom. But when these signs begin to happen, stand erect and raise your heads, because your redemption is at hand.